on that off-lane Dawnbreaker. Of course, for Talon, I mean, you've got 23 Savage and this Monkey. He's been playing a lot more Void recently. Faces Void. Monkey King we don't see as often, but again, it is still a really solid hero to have on hand. And keen to see what both sides will do. Again, DPC, both sides have taken a series win against each other. So it's really close. Probably, again, one of our more competitive matches here in the closed qualifiers. We already saw Boom kind of sweep 4-0. We'll see if Talon can put a dent in that record.
By the way, whenever these two teams meet, it's always Talon who takes game one. I mean, to be fair, they only play 2 games. It always goes 3 games. It's always Talon takes game 1. So, you know, that's a little bit part of why I took them. But yeah, overall, just the draft really good from both sides. Like, there is no place where you can go like, oh yeah, what a weird pick. Of course, this is going to be kind of like, nope, just both teams looks like you said, even matchup here.
Yeah, should be really close, and not seeing too many early shenanigans here. Just kind of grouping up around mid. Both sides already dropping some early wards to watch that mid lane. Where do you feel like the emphasis will come out here, Otto? What lane are we expecting both sides to kind of build momentum on? Is it all about this Mikato versus Yopaj matchup here on mid?
I think a lot of this will be also on KP as well as Q in the bottom lane. Like, that's something I'm going to be keeping a lot of my eye on, because we've seen Mars and Mirage just do a ton of damage, and Terrorblade does not start with a whole lot of HP. He's got less than 580 health only. He's got a ton of armor, but not much health, so that magic damage could bring him down quite easily.
The battle begins.
Gonna be scuffling over the runes just a bit. It does look like a 3-for-1 start in Talon's favor. Can be able to grab that top rune as well. Boom stuck with 1 rune. So we've seen this a couple of times from Boom. You know, they're willing to sacrifice those earlier runes. Take a look at the lanes as they break out down bot. Of course, Jackie on the Terrorblade, along with Skem on his Warlock, laning up against KP on his Mars, and Q on the Mirana. So again, looking at this duo out from Talon, this is something Boom knows very well. They're very familiar with what you want to do. Do you feel like the Warlock and Terrorblade can handle that lane?
That's going to be pretty tough for them to handle as well. Though, as I say that, Jackboy just takes out half of KP's HP, but still, just the first skirmish, and he does have his meta on. So I do think that Talon will be able to like put up some serious pain. Skem is good that he's got the Warlock, because kind of gonna need him to keep Jackboy alive. And look at Q! Holy crap! Holy moly! What?
Ooh! Oh, Q! He's actually gone. Trades a bit too long with Skem. Skem gets a really good use of Shadow Word, and Q just not able to disengage. Did have 8 tangos on hand, but didn't really manage to use them. So First Blood goes the way of Boom. Already getting a great start off, and it does feel like, again, that familiarity with what the Mars and Mirana will want to do. They know its shortcomings. They just run down to Mirana early levels. Arrow does only secured a range creep. KP's been copping a lot of hits from Jackie with that metamorphosis, as he called out Otno, and we'll have to see if Talon can find a way to reel this one back in as the levels go up. Of course, over on mid, as we have some time, Mikado versus Yopaj again on that tiny Pangolier. Again, we don't see too much of the tiny Pango, or at least we haven't seen it in the past day. How do you think this one shapes up, Otmo?
It should just be a farm fest for both. Both of them probably going to hit level 6 around the same time, and then it depends less on sort of the lane matchup and more about who can make good moves around the map. And Yopaj has had advantage because Tiny, you get the Blink Dagger, your downtime is basically your basic spell combo, whereas Mikoto, you know, you have to wait for Rolling Thunder to really be able to fight. And dude, Q is just taking so much damage in this bottom lane.
Yeah, keeps trading hits with Skem. Skem just stands his ground, pops a Shadow Word, trades a right click. Warlock right click isn't too shabby, the damage output he has, and this is giving Jackie so much room. He is finding a lot more farm than KP at the moment. He's got the sustain, all the sustain he could possibly ask for coming through from Skem. Skem is out of mangoes, so is out of that mana regen to sustain here, but still getting so much harassment off. Q just cannot trade. The Warlock has 60 base damage, Q only has 56, so he's losing every single time they trade right clicks. Ooh.
Dude, Skem, he's like, he has a spider sense or something. He's like, feels the arrow. He's like, all right, there's something coming my direction. I'm just going to stop. But incredible. Like, this is, he's making plays on Warlock 5. Like, how often do you say that about anybody? You're like, oh man, look at this Warlock 5. He is really putting in the work.
Yeah, he's just been dancing around and really making this game hellish for Q. Still, Well, we've got some time. The last thing we haven't really talked about up top, you've got Savage on the Monkey King, along with Hyde on that Disruptor. They are up against Tims and FBZ on the Rubik and Dawnbreaker, making some moves forward, getting some damage onto Hyde, and they are hammering down onto Savage, but he's got the Jingu up. Looking for an angle out, does get the Boundless only onto one, trying to trade hits with FBZ. Is it enough to kill him off? Starting to drop low, but the Boundless does lose it. The Jingu does lose its stacks as FBZ on the chase. Not quite enough mana. Does have the stick, but doesn't opt to go for it. And Savage can be hanging on low HP, but a lot of aggression, a lot of trades up here up top, Automo. Looking like it's leading to a bit of a better time for FBZ here.
Yeah, just a tiny bit though. Like it's still gonna be fine for them. Once the Disruptor gets level 3, his Thunderstrike does almost double in damage. That's pretty good. So, but FBZ, he's loving life, especially compared to KP, who's got 6 CS in 4 minutes. Whoops, I guess is what all you can say. This situation, he is definitely not enjoying. And Jack, but you do start with just so much base damage here. Of course, all that harass really helped as well.
Yeah, and just those initial trades, just Q perhaps giving out that first blood, gives this opportunity for Boom to control the lanes a lot better, get that level lead up on Jackie, and really just expose the weaknesses of the Mars here. Just not able to do much. Great reflection spam out from Jackie as well. And we're just not seeing the impact of that Mirana. Now, Q is rotating towards mid. He doesn't really have the best arrow setup coming out from Pangolier, and we are still seeing Yopaj kind of overtake. You do manage to find that kill on Tims up top, punishing a bit of an overextension here from Boom's end. Savage still getting a bit of a chase off, but not going to be able to fully chase FBZ. He does dive on that tier 1 just a bit. Does have the Mischief, at least dodge that damage. So Talon finds a kill, some punishment onto Tims. It still feels like Boom is getting more from these side lanes though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the level 2 Thunderstrike we talked about. It's just a good amount of damage. And Q gets a courier, so that's good for him. They notice that Q's not around. They're like, alright, Skim, go to the mid lane, see what you can do here. And Yopaj gets his bottle filled up by Tims. So Tims dies, but it's not really the biggest deal because FBZ, he's still farming up a Storm. He's got more CS than any of the cores on Talon right now, so he's happy with this. Like, you're fine sacrificing Tims.
It's definitely a move that you're willing to make. Still, have to watch yourself with the damage output of Hyde now, that level 2 Thunderstrike, as you mentioned. FBZ sort of low on the regen, still has the stick charges to play with. Savage does get salved up as well to stay in that lane. And again, shaping up to still look a little bit better for Boom here. For Talon, I mean, what do we expect Q to do? Like, he's been hanging around mid, sniping couriers, securing runes, but they haven't been able to play around with that early aggression with the arrow, unlike Boom in the past day yesterday with Tims.
Oh, lucky Yopaj gets the regen rune for him. Yeah, Q is just, he's kind of playing map tourist at the moment, where he's like checking out this area, checking out that area. He's not able to really pressure Yopaj. Yopaj just got too much health right now. He can't really help bottom as well because they want KP to get that solo EXP. So they're like, alright, so Q, we just seen kind of walk around, maybe kill a couple of creeps here and there, but not really having the impact. This is not the Mars Mirana combo that we saw from Boom. It's definitely that there's definitely sacking Q right now, just give KP that fast level 6. Maybe they think after that with Mikoto's level 6 they can do something with that.
Yeah, they're just looking for that timing coming out. A little bit of an opening for Yopaj to start hammering on that mid-tier 1 of the siege creep, forcing out the early fortify, and we're seeing Boom again group up with as 3 down mid. Tim, Scam showing up mid, just getting a shove in. Mikoto does have the roll ready, but again, just doesn't have the follow tree to play with that. Q's hang around on the ramp, no angle for good arrows, and they're just managing to chip away. That's a lot of... It's not too much damage from the tier 1 mid, but it's decent enough to at least apply that pressure onto Talon. If you're Talon right now, considering the state of this early game, knowing how much Jackie's getting out of his own lane, what do you aim to do? Is this a matter of just maybe waiting for some level 6s on the supports, maybe waiting for a KP to hit at least an opportunity for the arena?
I'm like that they're going top. They feel like, we can't do anything bottom, we can't do anything mid, we might as well go top. But Boom sort of suspects this. Whenever they feel like, oh, where's Q? We don't see him. He was just mid, he's not going bottom. So it's quite telegraphed what Talon's doing right now. And Boom is just, they're reading them like a book. They know exactly what's happening. I do like that what they're trying to do. They're trying to sort of go and pressure a lane, but Boom is just winning them in terms of the laning mechanics. Jack is just beating KP in the lane, and you can feel like they're suffering on Talon right now a little bit. They're still off comeback. Yopaj, is he gonna be okay here?
yeah, playing poke a bit, does have that grow level 1, so he's got the armor to kind of cop through those hits. He's just going to go back to farming. Mikado does secure himself the illusion rune, but he's just farming up as well. Still the rotation up top. They spot FBZ. Thunderstrike out. Does have the Solar Guardian. He wants to get out of there. Glimpse back already, but doesn't quite stop that hammer from flying out. So Celestial Hammer just allows him to rip right through. No kill opportunity coming out from Talon. So all the movement out from the sports just not panning out here, Ottomo.
Yeah, it's definitely not a support. Like, doesn't you know some games where you look at it, you're like, oh man, the supports are doing it. In this game, after Skeb did his first blood, it's just been the core show basically. It's just like every lane's just got one core against the other. Supports sort of rotating here and there, trying to figure out what to do. But yeah, it's been a bit of a tough situation. Yopaj is bottom though. KP could lose his life here.
Does not have the mana for the arena. Does have stick charges on hand. Toss back from Yopaj. KP dropping way too low to sustain, is trying to stall with a God's Rebuke, but the reflection is there. Spear back. Can KP survive through the onslaught? There is Metamorphosis from Jackie. He'd rather not expend that. KP still trying to juke. Metamorphosis out, and they find that kill. So just go back to farming for Jackie. A great rotation out from Yopaj. Does find KP, and again, they've managed to put a big dent on that Mars. Just in a huge contrast to how FBZ's Mars games goes, this is extremely slow for KP.
Saw that yesterday, but the FBZ also suffered in one of the games. I think it was the first game in game 1 against SMG. Then he recovered perfectly fine. So not too, it's not like it's the end of the world here. Mars, once you get level 6, you get the Blink Dagger, you're pretty much set for the rest of the game. More items is good, but you can just do a lot with that. The bigger problem, I think, is Yopaj getting really close to that Blink Dagger. It's 1400 gold. It's only 10 minutes in the game. You might get this, like...
FBC. Held back by the Boundless rollout from Mikado with the arrow connection. Should be a simple kill on that Bondbreaker. And it takes them 10 minutes. But they finally get a successful rotation up top. But back to your point there, Ottomo. That Blink inching closer for Yopaj. We've seen that timing before here. They've done nothing to stop him. He's still allowed to farm up, and that build-up's getting awfully close.
Yeah, and you can see like Hyde, he's already got like Infused Raindrop to survive, but it's not gonna be enough. Most of the, Q and Hyde are just gonna be food for Yopaj. But Talon, that kill on FBZ is a big deal, and the offlaner is pretty low net worth, both of them, just around 3,000 each. And I do think it's kind of more important for FBZ to have a good game, because like I said, Mars, a lot easier to play than the Dawnbreaker. Just throw an ultimate and that's pretty good. Dawnbreaker though feels like she needs more net worth to have the same impact.
Yeah, and we see that build up for the Dawnbreaker. It's usually like the BKB shards, maybe a blink. Then you can kind of go for the Basher, your Extras, but just that BKB blink and shards is a lot of gold to invest on the offlane in comparison to what you mentioned. KP really just needs his own blink up. Still a ways off from that though for KP, still significantly behind even in comparison to FBZ. Speaking of, they are starting to clump up top. Savage does spot the rotations with his little tree dance.
Oh?
Yopaj not gonna go for a tree cut yet. Wukong's out onto Yopaj. Can they get the lockdown? Toss back on the monkey, doesn't toss him out of the Wukong's. Roll from Mikado. Arrow does connect onto Yopaj, but Solar Guardian's there to stall. Enough HP coming through onto Yopaj, but there's Savage for the jump in. Hammer doesn't save, and FBZ's forced to kind of run. Static Storm doesn't quite connect for a long time. Glimpse back is there. Sustain coming through from Skem to hold back, as they are getting some FPS drops here, but Mikado is still standing forward, starting to drop low. They do manage to clear out FBZ. Skem did drop the Golem, might find Hyde with a little bit of a chase down, but doesn't quite fully commit. Savage onto Skem. Gets the Jingu stacks off. One more right click does find a kill, but Savage is dropping pretty darn low here as well. Might melt to that Shadow. We're trying to get the TP play back home. Does barely make it out with enough HP. So a little bit of a back and forth. This time around, Talon finds a decent set of kills.
Huge. I think they got Yopaj, FBZ as well as Skem. So a huge victory for them. Yeah, they had to use all their ultimates, but who cares? You got the fight. You got the fight in the bag. I love what 23 Savage did. I thought that was risky as hell, but they're like, yeah, we can just do it. The toss from Yopaj, not tossing far enough. I don't believe he had actually a target to toss him that was further, because they're fighting right next to the tower. The creeps were all me, so everyone was sort of in that clumped up area. No one to really toss Savage to, and just good Wukong followed by Mikado. Talon loses nothing, and finally they feels like they have a reasonable lead at this point.
So less than 1k. You still have issues with how much Jackie's farming up, but you equalize elsewhere. Still, Boom has the opportunity to shove in top just a little bit more. Top tier 1, not the healthiest now on Talon's end, and should be found without contestation from Talon. They are grouping up bot. Did smoke out with Mikado and with Hyde, but Jackie has left the building. You might find Yopachi. No, they still find Jackie in the jungle. Static Storm's effective. Jackie's starting to drop low. Is going to get rolled on by Mikado. Can he find the chain stun? He needs the Sunder's right
nice
on time from Jackie. The jumps from Tims with a stolen leap. And even Tims is alive. Has a rolling thunder. He's a rolling cube right now, looking for the target. KP in the middle of this. Does have Arena, but doesn't have anyone to follow up. He's left for dead. And Tims, with the leap, with a roll, turns things around for Boom.
That was so close. Oh my god. Jack Boys with an amazing thunder. And really good job, by the way, for Tims. He's like, alright, dude, take my soul. You know, I'll give it to you. And then he, with the leap, manages to dodge. The rolling thunder takes it back himself. Very well played by Talon. That was, you know, you could say a little bit of wishful thinking that you can kill Jack Boys with just a disruptor as well as the Pangolier, but they got very close in that situation. One thing I was thinking is whether it would have been worth Miko to stop the roll to get one hit off, because that would have been real close. Whether they kill Jack Boys, he kind of rolled all the way to the edge and rolled back, and that for the magic damage. That's one of those things where that'll keep him up at night.
Avalanche toss with a blink, and the Solar Guardian coming through onto Mikado. Lift this up, and Mikado still alive through this, but doesn't have the swash to get away. Still chasing here. Mikado does have the swash now. Is he actually safe? Toss out, and the Avalanche is there. Mikado is gone. Boom. With that blink on Yopach, is working the map here, Ottomo.
It's the no downtime, right? That's what we said. There's just no downtime on Yopaj. Not the same thing for the Pangolier. However, all ultimates are up on Talon. They might want to consider grouping up and taking a tower when they're all alive.
Yeah, they've got ample opportunity now. They bring Jackie down mid with a Metamorphosis, chipping away at that tier 1.
Chipping away was like shredding it, right?
Shredding it with the Terror Blade. Completely gone. Talon not going for the defense here, trying to push in bot themselves. They do manage to at least find one tower, but that's 2 towers for Boomis. They're still clumping around. Yopaj hang behind that tier 2. Not gonna go fully in for the shove on the tier 2 just yet. It does feel like Talon's losing out on opportunities. Look at Boom, just smoke up once more. They've got the Golem. No downtime here with Yopaj. They might be able to find more here.
There is no Solar Guardian. That's the one thing, though. If they take a fight in one side of the map, there's no Dawnbreaker for 40 seconds to show up. FBZ will have to teleport the old-fashioned way. KP, he's got Moonlight on him. Throws the spear. I wonder if Boom Esports ping it out. They kind of have a feeling that someone's here.
Okay.
They know it.
They managed to catch out KP. Does have an Arena. The roll still up on Tims. He should be able to find that simple kill on the Mars, and that blink is stalled out once more. 3 gold away. Couldn't buy out before dying, and they just keep stalling out that Mars here.
Dude, Tims, is he using the roll better than Mikado so far? Is that fair to say? He's just been doing work with that rolling thunder. And Jack Boys gets bigger and bigger. Like, you gotta be pretty scared at this point. He's actually going for the BKB first. No Manta style, just straight up BKB, because he wants to be able to join these fights. And you look at Talon's side, they got nothing that goes through BKB. For Boom, at least they have the Golem, but Talon's got nothing. So at that point, you're not killing Jack Boys unless you get a stun before he BKBs. Once he BKBs, he's unkillable.
You have nothing to handle that spell immunity here.
You got
on
nothing.
Townsend. And it just goes back to that pick. Although they catch out FBZ, Whoa. They drop the Wukongs, no Boundless out left, but they do get the Static Storm. Manage to hold him down. Thunderstrike stolen here by Tims. Does have a lot of damage coming out onto Q. Aren't able to follow through. So they find FBZ here on Talon's end. A bit of pause out from Q here as well. I mean, it's something, but they're still not able to manage Jackie. They're still not able to find him. 1-0-2 on this Terrorblade.
For a second, I actually forgot they had Disruptor. I was like, wait, that's pretty bold from Savage. And then it just comes out like, oh, yeah, right. That's the thing that Disruptor does. We haven't seen him in so long. We forget that, all right, Glimpse is his best ability. But yeah, like you said, Jack Boys basically has the BKB. There's no real way to handle him. And especially if he's got Solar Guardian on him, he's got Sunder available. Talon's going to have to consider trying to kill... Tims feels like he's been the big problem for them. They could get Tims out early in the fight. Maybe get the supports out. Yopaj, so tanky. I don't know how you kill the cores on Boom Esports right now.
It's just back to this. Maybe that's mid Pangolier, right? Like, it's not quite the bursty hero on mid we wanted to. Another, you know, they're just not able to eat through that high HP coming out from both sides. They are still making a move out. No smoke expended. Looking for the angle. They've got the blink on KP now. Just need a good angle for that arena. Don't want to just expend it on the supports that they see. Jackie's a bit further up. But you need to gap close somehow, and Talon not finding the opportunity. Good scan out from Boom as well, knowing that Talon's hanging on the low ground, and that fresh BKB is up and running on Jackie, as you mentioned there, Otimo. So completely protected on Terrorblade. No way to deal with that spell immunity yet on Talon's end. Still staying as a unit though. They don't quite have Static Storm yet. Still half a minute away, but KP blinks forward, does get the arena. Only onto Skem. Stolen arena out from Tim. Solar Guardian to save. So they can't even find that, but they do glimpse FBZ away. Yopaj though with the Avalanche Toss does find Hyde, but Yopaj might be a bit too far forward. Mikado gets a roll off, trying to look for the angle. Stolen arena to trap the side of Talon in, but that just allows a spear out onto Yopaj, and Savage finds a streak for himself. BKB popped by Jackie. They catch out Mikado on the side. He still managed to run, but there's Tims once more with Stolen Rolling Thunder. And with that upheaval on Mikado, he can't run. He has to swash away. But that still gives a clean angle for them to run down that Pangolier. Starbreaker out, Mikado gone. So 2 for 1 in favor of Boom Esports in the end.
For people who are wondering, we saw the same interaction yesterday, which is that no matter who uses the arena, whether it's the Rubik or the Mars, he can use his spear on, like he can catch them on whether it's his arena or not, and that's why Yopaj died. Tim's, probably like, oops, sorry for that, bro, but Tims, is he gonna be able to make it out? He's just gonna, looks like he might be fine. FBZ though.
Being hunted down, Starbreaker out. Arrow does not connect. The pushback from the gods would be close, but not close enough. So FBZ is gonna be saved. Looking at how Savage is forced to play, this is actually a pretty tough Monkey King game. You have to be aware of your allied Mars arena, and you have to be worried about that Dawnbreaker. And the Hammer just breaking trees. It doesn't feel like they can even use Savage as a forward core to kind of spot out and get the pickoffs. He's forced to play a lot safer, and even with his BKB coming out, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, and plus we also talked about like the Warlock Golem, right? Like that's another way they can just, oh well, they do get Hyde falls as well, but it's not too big of a deal. Hyde's actually going for the Aghanim Scepter on the Scepter. He's like, wait guys, we got nothing to go through BKB. Let me just farm up real quick this 4,200 gold item as a position 5 disarm. I got it. That really is their best way, unless they could get some bashers on like the Pangolier and the Monkey King. Q.
Get the lift out onto Q, does try to leap away, but Tim's rolling can still use the Fade Vault. Drive by for Tims as he goes. He is such a menace with that Stolen Rolling Thunder. It's just showing us how good he is on this Rubik. He's a menace, and if he wants to play the Morana, we've seen him with the Stolen Leaps before. Just doesn't feel like Talon has answers. Like, going back to that Ags point here, Otimo, it can be great in Hyde, but it's so expensive, like you pointed out. I mean, what do you prefer to see then? We're seeing Mikado build into the Blink, Savage straight to the BKB into the Scotty. Do you feel like this might just have to be a Basher Pangolier game after that Blink?
Yes, it's like you've got to get some way to control people while they're magic immune. Because besides, like we talked about the BKB, but Tim's on the rolling. He's magic immune too. You gotta find some way to deal with this guy because you got nothing. And FBZ also is going to be very close. I think he actually has the BKB flying out to him, the recipe right now. So it's going to come down to Mikado to control them. Maybe 23 Savage as well later on can get something like an Abyssal Basher. He is queuing up the Rod of Eidos, going for the Gleipnir later, which is interesting after the BKB. All right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do think at one point you're going to need to get bashers. Like, you just have to. You got to get some way to control these people.
Yeah, they need that lockdown here on Talon. I guess the mindset for the Gleipnir is maybe you line that up with the Ags on Hyde, so you have additional hold to play with in the Static Storm, in the Arena, and Wukongs. Keep them locked in and get the damage off that way. That's still reliant on this 4,200 gold item on your POS 5 that has died 3 times. So it's still a long journey for Talon on that front.
Yeah, that's this is. I think Boom Esports actually banned Bayonet themselves because they want to go for this lineup that the enemy has no sort of magic piercing abilities or BKB piercing abilities on. And Disruptor, if your answer to a problem is Disruptor Aghanims, you got real issues. You know what I mean? That cannot be your solution. And Hyde, he's only got 100 gold, so we may not see this Aghanims for 15 minutes maybe, but. Both of these games, both times that they faced off, game 1 did go 45 minutes in one game and then an hour in the other game. So they do tend to go the distance between Boom and Talon.
Yeah, they definitely do stall out, especially on Talon's end. I think they're very well known for their discipline and dragging games out, so we'll see if they can do that against Boom, who has been hungry. They are smoked up once more on Boom here, Atomo. Yopaj, Scam, and Tim's on the hunt. No one in the top lane, though, to find, and no one in that top jungle. But they have forward vision with a good ward snuck between that tier 2 and the jungle ramp. Might be able to play around with that. Bit of a longer flank around here for Yopaj. Still has a good angle. The rest of Talon hanging on the tree side, though. So gonna have the backup to deal with that jump in. And they smoke up themselves. That might have been on the edge of the obs. I think it was. So let's see if Talon still finds success with this one. Dragging Savage out with his fresh BKB.
Dire's top tower is under
FBZ full retreat does look like Boom just kind of saw that. Really good ward vision from Boom, and they just dodge.
Yeah, it would be good if they could kill FBZ actually, because we see FBZ is kind of the solo one by himself. They can get him, won't be able to solo guardian anyone, but this could be a backstab here coming out from Boom Esports. Yopaj looks ready for it.
No. They spear out FBZ, but they don't really have a follow through. A bit too far back. Does use the BKB early. Solar Guardian now. Toss onto Mikado. So they do manage to get the Static Storm, but Savage just jumps in without any backup and is forced to TP away. No help coming through for the Monkey King. They find another on high. So it's almost going back to that point here, Ottomo. With a Disruptor, when you're behind, it just doesn't feel like it does enough.
It's a garbage here when you're behind. That's the problem with Disruptor. You have to be winning fights to get some value from the glimpse. And your buddy just jumped in there. He's like, oh, kinetic field. I don't really care. I blink. Although Q takes a bit of damage, but he's gonna be fine. Unfortunately for Q, he doesn't even have Spirit Vessel charges because they aren't able to get any kills. Boom playing this game so well, and yeah, it's pretty tough for them right now. There goes the Aegis for Jack Boys, 22 minutes in. Next 5 minutes will be pretty tough for Talon. They might lose a lot of map control.
Yeah, it just feels like Boom's going to be able to kick it into full gear. Not like they were slowing down anyway. It's Talon that's kind of on the back foot. If you're on Talon's side right now, just looking at the state of the game, what fixes this for Talon? What's the game plan here?
I mean, I don't think the Mars BKB is gonna help you a ton. Actually, Mars might be losing his life here.
Lift it up, and Jackie's just there. Doesn't even need the Metamorphosis. Stolen Spear by Tims, but the Avalanche from Yopaj. Simple kill onto KP. And Boom just, again, rolling through the map. They are buying space out for Savage. He's 3k behind Jackie, which isn't ideal, but not completely unplayable for the core-to-core matchup. But look at Boom. Another smoke out. No cooldowns to wait for with Yopaj. Double damage bottled up here as well. Gonna be sneaking around. No forward vision on the triangle. Talon is mainly playing on the bot jungle as well. It's a bit of an awkward flank to find. They just hang around at mid. Replant that ward that gave them so much information earlier. And sneak in to find it.
The closest item they might have...
Yopaj. Avalanche toss again onto Mikado with a Solar Guardian. Mikado doesn't have any choice. So just finding everything.
I was gonna say the sort of the next item window, because no one else is close to an item, is Mikoto's Blink Dagger. If he's going for not BK because he has both queued, I think that would be the opening. KP getting BKB, I'm not sure how much of a big deal that is, and none of the supports have items coming, so it's gonna have to be Mikoto's Blink Dagger. You blink, so you roll and blink into someone, burst them down. That could be your opening. That's the next move I can see for them.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. Because everything else is pretty tough for Talon.
Yeah, they just don't have the openings. They lose their mid tier 2. Jackie just gets a bit of a shove in. Speaking of Jackie, he is being hunted down, but he's got the Scotty and Aegis still up and running. Hiding the tree
who's hunting who?
And Savage has eyes on him as well. I don't know if they have enough for 2 lives, and Hyde will TP out. Not the target they'd want to gun for. Savage still stuck up front here. Does see vision on Tims. We'll try for the solo kill onto the Rubik. With the BKB popped as well, but the Golem's already out. Savage just leaps away and will TP out of there. So baits out the Golem in exchange for his BKB. Is that worth what?
If I guess so. Yes. I mean, it's a tough one, right? Like their cooldowns are both pretty long, but yeah, the Golem's a lot longer. And I guess 23 Savage, you're making a little bit of space. You're forcing them to group up. I think it's all right. I think Talon's be like, yeah, but that was super risky. Like that was an insane risk for 23 Savage to do that.
Oh, KP
But
instant BKB onto Yopaj. Does not manage to land a spear. They manage to get the static storm on top. There is still a solar guardian coming through. But the roll coming out from Mikado, can they at least find Yopaj? He still manages to get the toss away, still stalling out. Q falls first.
Look at the heal.
And Yopaj is still alive from that Shadow Word. Still living. Swash does the job from Mikado, but they're still on the chase, wanting to find Tim's next. He does have the stolen spear, upheaval to slow down that progress. Tim still being chumped though, still looking for more FBZ. And Jackie cutting Savage off in the back line, finds that kill. Tim's still alive with a healing on Shadow Word once more. Still being held back. The spear out doesn't connect in Tim's, and KP falls first. 3 for 1 so far. As Boom are still on the chase, FBZ just hitting like a madman onto Hyde next. Critted down. Tim's gets another. And Talon, the movements just don't line up there.
the heal coming out from Scam to keep Yopaj alive, because at one point Yopaj is like what 100 HP, like he's dead, but no, he keeps taking so much attention from them. And yeah, Warlock Golem was down, but BKB was down that fight as well, and Jackboy took a while to get there, but when he did, the fight was basically over. Unfortunately for Talon, they just took too long to kill Yopaj. It all comes back to Skem's heal. Just very impressive performance as always.
His positioning's just been on point with his Warlock, and his spell use has been phenomenal. Even like the upheavals to cut off these access points makes it difficult for Talon to re-engage.
Is upheaval love again?
Yeah, it's a good spell. It's a great slow.
It's a spell.
In very good circumstances. It's a very good
definitely
spell.
A spell.
It's one of the spells, you know, of all time.
Of all the spells in Dota, upheaval is one of them.
Yes, definitely is. No truer statement has been made. They tried to catch Yopaj, has managed to blink away. Again, mid tier 2 is already gone. Top tier 2 gone as well. And we're still inching towards that BKB. KP right in the front here. Aegis does expire. KP starting to blink away. They get the glimpse off, but Hyde's still sitting duck for Yopaj to just rip right through.
FBZ?
And they find FBZ. Savage trying to get some damage, but FBZ just retreats. The rest of Boom collapsing from behind. Talon probably not too keen on forcing this fight out. They still have vision on Savage trying to clear out the creep wave. Moonlight Shadow will save. They back
It's
off.
gonna be a solid fight for Talon actually if they go for FBZ and Schem, because it's like 4 versus 2 here, but yeah, this could be pretty good for them.
They're haunting Arena down onto Schem. They manage to lock in the Warlock. Starbreaker does not quite do enough, but that healing from the Solar Guardian does stall it out a bit. FBZ with a BKB trying to do something. And the rest of Boom on the hunt from behind. The Talon disengages. They only find Schem for all their trouble, but it's a kill nonetheless for this team that's 20-9 behind.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they might be able to go for FBZ as well, but they decided not to. It's fine, just getting FBZ.
Savage going on to FBZ. Still has his own BKB on Savage's end. Does manage to Starbreaker down. Still getting a lot of hits off, but there's Tim's with a backup. Lift up the stall, and Savage pops the BKB, trying to get the hits onto Yopaj. Forced to use the Wukongs and TP away. So, another big spet to spells. They can't even find a solo pickoff with Savage here.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, Savage is playing this very risky style, and it pays off sometimes, and sometimes that just happens where it's like, I end up using Wukong, couldn't get the kill on FBZ, but it's fine. He's doing an amazing job, honestly.
Yeah. Rosh info as well, being dropped there by Schem for the Joy of All. So very keenly aware now. As yeah, it's getting tough. Like we do have the Mikado BKB over to Blink. Like he does rush that BKB first here, Automo. We haven't seen the impact of it. And Boom right now just clumping around bot. Tier 2 faults, no outer towers left for Talon. As Boom, even without that, Aegis still have the angle for high ground. Silver Edge already up on Jackie. They bought the damage with Yopaj here as well, just with the Echo Saber. And Talon can get the defense off. They're starting to come in. Mikado roll up here, jumping forward. They get the glimpse out. That is a stolen glimpse out from Tim's. Mikado just melts to the right click of Jackie's. They jump forward, get the toss out, clear out high, gem on the ground. Don't even need it. KP will pick it up. That bot Ceteraks are gone. Savage trying to make something happen mid, going for a tier 1, but the TPs are coming in. They lift up Savage. He does not have BKB for 8 seconds. Solar Guardian down as well. Savage sitting duck to all of this output and is taken away. Boom,
No
just
buyback.
find everything everywhere.
And they've got no back. Jack Boys is still the base. He never left. You know, like he's like, alright guys, you go handle the monkey, and I'll be here just taking. And they call it, which, I mean, it's a faster game than we expected. But to be fair, Boom Esports has been on fire this whole tournament, and holy crap, this didn't even feel like a very fair game, to be honest with you. You know, it just seemed like from the start of the game, Boom Esports had the advantage, and they just never let go. All started with KP having a tough time bottom lane. Your Podge was very active, whereas Makoto, like I said, the longer cooldown Pangolin made it tough for him.